Okay, hey everyone, this is Chaotic Teal, and welcome back to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Last time, we pretty much went around the entire castle. Or the entire inverted castle, rather. Pretty much all we've got left to take care of is that central area, which is what we're going to do this time. With any luck, this will be the final stream for Symphony of the Night. That was the wrong button. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts. So, we kind of established last time that there's not a great warp point for us. So we're just gonna walk. We're gonna walk back. I don't remember which. There are like 4, it looks like. 4 different kind of cutoffs that connect to that central area. I think I'm going to try to go to the closest one to us, which I believe leads to the Colosseum. Though that one might be the... Now that I think about that, might be Olrox's quarters, which is fine. I mean, ideally, there will be as little... Oh no. There we go. Anyway, ideally there will be as little backtracking as possible. Obviously, we can't completely negate the backtracking. Yeah, we can't completely negate backtracking because there's not... Well, there might be a complete loop. No, actually. There's not going to be a completely perfect loop where you wouldn't have to retread any ground. Even in the inverted castle, when you don't have to deal with a wide variety of mobility options becoming available partway through. Just to be sure, this is Olrox's quarters. Oh. I mean, I didn't intend to do that, but I'm glad I did. Alright, flying zombies. Moderately disconcerting, these. You hit them once, they kind of come apart, and their torsos fly around and try to kill you. You know, like you do. They're functionally very similar to a particular enemy from Mega Man 1, which I think only shows up in, like, Iceman stage? It might also show up in one of the Wily Castle stages, but I'm fairly certain it's mostly in Iceman stage. I remember it the best from Iceman stage, anyway. Oh. Fair enough. I think this might actually be the boss room direction, because this would have been... Oh yeah, this is definitely boss room. This would have been the upper left. So we'll just take care of the boss. we're a little bit bonkers at this point, power-wise. I'm trying to walk up and punch the dude, because, you know, Chrysogrim would just shred him, but he seems to like grabbing me when I do that, so we're just gonna... Yeah. So anyway, Akhenaten II. Actually, the name also references Rondo of Blood, because the mummy fought in the boss rush there was Akhenaten I. Which isn't ever something that you see in-game, because only the Symphony-style games include visible enemy names. But still kind of interesting. Also, there's nothing else really here, but map completion. So anyway, the rest of not Olrox's quarters. Also, you might have noticed from the little achievement pop-up, or trophy pop-up, because this is PlayStation, that that was the final Dracula relic. We can now see we've got all 5 of them, which actually means we have all the relics in the game now, which is cool. So they're just stat buffs, and then we can't get cursed anymore, which is nice. Not that we're too likely to encounter situations where we would get cursed. Also, hey look, it's that room that had spikes on the ceiling, except now the ceiling's the floor. That's a shame. I'm fairly certain that takes us out of this area, so we don't want to go there quite yet, just because we want to finish up the map for the rest of the area. Completion is a surprisingly tricky thing for this style of game. Oh, the Alucard mail. Nice. Because obviously it matters what the game defines as completion. But the only... this is the same hallway we came through. Also, there's a general assumption that the enemy in this hallway that's called Cthulhu was actually a mix-up of names, because the related enemy that actually looks like consistent depictions of Cthulhu, naturally part of the whole point of Cthulhu in its own mythos is the unknowable. I mean, Lovecraft is a can of worms I'm not going to get into. But the point being, that enemy in this game is translated as Malachi, or is referred to as Malachi. Where later games would generally switch the two. potion, luck potion. I haven't really used any of those. I believe that they're just temporary buffs to a given stat. This is a Wharf Room. It would have been nice if we'd gotten there earlier, but we didn't. Oh yeah, see? That enemy. The names of the two are generally switched in later games. Because this looks a lot more like common depictions of Cthulhu. Why the overarching Lovecraftian horror beast is just a mook in Dracula's castle? Who knows? Yeah, there's a save room around here, right? Somewhere? Okay, well I wasn't really intending to just jump in. I forgot that Alucard can't slide. Sword of Hador. Hador. That guy. I believe that Hador is another character in the Silmarillion. Because everything's a Silmarillion reference. Or at least a general Tolkien bonk reference. Oh, you want to punch, do you? Get punched. That's a save room. Cool. Those spikes really did a number on me. I would like to not die. Anyway. I wish that I could remember the input command for Soul Steel. Okay. Because if I could, well, I guess just to explain Soul Steel, because that's one of the spells that I never purchased from the librarian. And at this point, I don't really want to go back into the regular castle to purchase it. Soul Steel damages... It does several hits on every enemy on screen. And allows you to recover health from that damage. Oh man, is that a mythical sword named Graham? Heck yeah! It shows up in Aria of Sorrow as well. It does not have any more elaborate description than sword named Graham. Which is amazing. Boss time? Sure. Boss time. So here we have a rather notable, interesting boss fight, because these are shades of Trevor Belmont, Saifa Belnades, and Grant Dynasty from Dracula's curse. Notably, the 3 potential allies that Alucard had in his first and, before this game, only other appearance. I mean, unfortunately, it seems both my desire for completion in general and my farming for Chrysogrim definitely made me very powerful. Because, oh, I didn't realize you had a charged, almost item crash-esque option for the cross. So an interesting note about that fight, if we had taken out the fake Trevor before fake Sypha, then fake Sypha would have revived fake Trevor as an even faker Trevor, I guess. He shambles around, he doesn't do much. It's kind of sad, really. Fury Plate, I feel like that's notable. I mean, at this point, nothing's gonna beat the walk armor. Actually, let me double check that. I think even the Alucard mail, the elemental resistance might be an improvement. But, yeah, it doesn't hold a candle to the power of having gone through the majority of the map. It is a valid criticism for Symphony of the Night, and a lot of the similar games, but I think Symphony gets hit with it the hardest, that it's very easy to become very powerful. To a kind of hilarious degree, really. I mean, we only beat Galamoth easily because shenanigans occurred, but... and only after a couple of attempts. But even without making heavy use of specifically Chrysogrim, and how much it just shreds everything, we have plenty of options. And oh wow, I'm really glad that I didn't completely miss this. The difficulty of the game does not catch up to the amount of options you have. Which is not inherently a bad thing. Games do not have to be difficult. And honestly, I think that it contributes to the overall very powerful feeling of Alucard within the world of Castlevania. Because there are a lot of other, both prior and following protagonists that don't have the same level of excuse me, of ridiculous power relative to the rest of their games. I think the only one who kinda ends up coming to about the same level of strength is, like, Soma, who has spoiler-related reasons for being as powerful as he is. The fact remains, though, that it is a substantial departure from the earlier Castlevania games in concept. So I totally understand why a lot of fans of those earlier games don't enjoy Symphony and the games that followed in its footsteps. Because the NES Castlevanias are very difficult. A lot of the Castlevanias that followed get even more difficult. They're not long games. There's not a lot of content to get through. But they're difficult. And that's fine. Ultimate point being, there's a very good reason that the Castlevania franchise tends to be considered in two distinct phases. Because pre- and post-Symphony Castlevania look very different. I think the only game that would be considered a classic style Castlevania that was released after would be, like, the Adventure Rebirth. Well, we're not going that way yet. Oh, this is the room with all the sub-weapons. Anyway, the Adventure Rebirth, which was a WiiWare remake of Castlevania The Adventure, which was a Game Boy game. And that's still a remake. Incorrect. Do we need to use the stopwatch for this one? I'll be back. I like both styles just fine, but I definitely prefer the Symphony-styled entries in the series. As I guess is probably clear from the general scope of things on the channel. We'll get there. At this point, I want to connect those last little bits. The Guardians, notably, are, I believe, the best source of experience at this point. If, you know, we wanted to get more ridiculously powerful. Like, I'm only level 48. I'm fairly certain the max level's 99. Unless you were trying to play through the game without equipping any armor or something, I can't imagine why you would ever have any reason to get to level 99 in this game. See how much damage? Okay, that still actually does a reasonable amount of damage. Okay. Yep, you're still dangerous. You aren't. Okay, now I just need to not die due to foolishness. I mean, Wing Smash always helps. I actually am going to come up here, because I'm pretty sure one of these two sides is a save room. It's not this one. It is this one, however. Okay. We've gone to 1833 rooms total. There are 1890 in the game overall. So we've got, at this point, 55 rooms left, which is more than I thought. That probably means that I've missed a side area somewhere. I want to say there are about 10 or 12 in the center, including the elevator. Oh yeah, the thing I was going to get to is Soul Steel. These, you can see, they're invincible, but every time we hit them, there's that little spark effect. Okay, that part's connected now. Soul Steel still counts as hitting those, so as long as you have MP, you can use Soul Steel. Actually, I'm gonna just Google the input command real quick, because why not? There we go. So yeah, each one of those hits still counts as a hit. Anyway, we're using up a lot of our MP. And we need that for exploring stuff. Point is, you can use that to heal. And as long as you have the MP for it, or the patience, you can totally just stand around by those invincible skulls and gradually recover your health, if you feel so inclined. If you, like me, are not great at the input commands, though, it's not going to be super useful in an actual fight. The nice thing, though, is that it does unblockable damage to everything on screen. Or at least unblockable as far as I'm aware. I'll take it. Wait, that's a library card. Heh. I'm not exactly sure what determines the amount of health you recover from it. It's possible that it's always 8 damage, but that seems false. At this point, we're only around 20 rooms off, so I think this is going to be the last of it. Which is cool. Because hopefully I won't have to go hunting for secret rooms. Fair enough. Notably, candles and such also qualify as hits for Soul Steel. But since that destroys them, it's not quite as useful as the large, intimidating, rotating skulls. Yeah, at this point, we have 12 rooms left. One of them's over there. Ah, the expansion pack. So, I am the controlling, or like admin member of a family pack, or family pass, for Switch Online. So I did go ahead and get the expansion pack, since with a group of people the price isn't terrible. And with the subscription essentially only half over because I subscribed in March, it was cheaper. I mean, not cheaper than we were already paying, but cheaper than the base asking price. But I spent some time yesterday playing some of the N64 and Genesis games, and I didn't have any issues, but I have seen and heard that other people are having a lot of issues with the emulation for them and connection and such. Like for trying to play the N64 games online. So there's definitely cause for concern. And overall, at the base asking price of $50, I don't think that what's there is worth the cost. If you are paying for a subscription yourself. Though I can see it being much more worthwhile if you play Animal Crossing, since the New Horizons DLC is included. What I will be interested in is if the subscription effectively becomes a Game Pass type service for DLC. I mean, hopefully they will improve the connectivity and the emulation for... Oh no.
All hail the son of our master, stronger than the mightiest hunter.
I've made a mistake.
You are the one called Shaft?
I am he.
You made Belmont Lord of the Castle. Why?
Because we tire of these hunters and their holy power. If they would but turn on one another.
We'll get back to this and we'll actually watch the cutscene without me talking over it in a minute.
Eliminate the rest.
But
Yes. So I converted him, brought him
point being,
the rest to force them.
as it currently stands, the expansion pack is worth critique,
And now
and I wouldn't say that it is worth the
Frail as his was.
baseline asking price.
I'll tear that soul apart.
What I will be interested to see is if DLC for future games gets added to it. Now, for myself, I would still want to purchase the DLC, so I would have that independently of the subscription. But for, you know, a friend who might not have the DLC in their budget right now, or who wouldn't use the DLC on their own, but might if we wanted to play something together, for instance. That, I would say, is worthwhile, and it gives you a chance to try the DLC content before making the decision to purchase it. Cool. Yep, that is going to be completion, and here's the cutscene without me talking over it.
All hail the son of our master, stronger than the mightiest hunter.
So you are the one called Shaft?
I am he.
You made Belmont Lord of the Castle. Why?
Because we tire of these hunters and their holy power. If they would but turn on one another.
Then the strongest one among them would eliminate the rest. Belmont.
Yes. So I converted him, brought him here to lure the rest, to force them all to fight and die.
But you never planned for me, and now you failed.
Ha! Your human soul as frail as his was. You'll take his place. I'll tear that soul apart.
I see your comment, and you make a valid point. Oh. Bye, Shaft.
Beloved darkness awaits you. Dwell there for all eternity.
Ha! I die victorious. Count Dracula rises even now. Let him purge the world in flames.
I think overall, I recognize and acknowledge the owning the games on the original consoles or in some other form.
Father.
Well met, my son. It's been a long
We'll get there.
time.
Not nearly long enough. I can't allow you to leave here, Father.
Do you still side with humanity? Have you forgotten what they did to your mother?
You think I would forget such a... No, but neither do I seek revenge against them.
Enough of your nonsense. Away with your humanity. Stand with me as Prince of all the world.
You will never touch this world again. In Mother's name, I swear it.
Okay, so final boss fight, and we're going to be talking about something completely different. Also, I apologize for the flashing lights. But I totally get if you have the games on their original consoles. One of the selling points for me is that Banjo-Kazooie is coming to the N64, and I don't have Banjo-Kazooie on cartridge, and it hasn't been re-released on any Nintendo platform, because, you know, Microsoft owns Rare. So, for some games, that's the only manufacturer-supported way to play it, and the only one that stands any chance of benefiting the original developers. Because that tends to be my issue with emulation.
To the abyss. Trouble the soul of my mother no more.
How could I have lost?
You lost your heart, your soul. You'll never win without them.
How poetic. So, I tragically sacrificed all I held dear in a search for power, did I?
Did you not?
Tell me, what were Lisa's last words?
She said, "Do not hate humans. If you cannot live with them, then at least do them no harm, for theirs is already a hard lot." She also said that she would love you for eternity.
Lisa, forgive me. Farewell, my son.
Oh man, he doesn't reference Matthew in this one? Ah. In the original ending dialogue, Dracula references, like, Matthew... I don't remember the actual verse, but it's, you know, for what has a man gained if he loses his soul? And there's something really funny about Dracula quoting Matthew. In, like, not a Satan quoting the Psalms to tempt Jesus kind of sense. Anyway. Yeah, I think it is a shame that effective and fully functional emulators do exist at this point, and manufacturers do not
So you made it.
reference what they can do or what people like about them.
Fight your own father? It's my fault. If I hadn't been so weak, we wouldn't be here.
Not so. I had my own reasons to face him.
Still, it couldn't have been easy.
It wasn't. But remember, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph
Is for good men to do nothing.
So what now, Alucard?
The blood in my veins is cursed. It's best for the world if I disappear, now and forever.
I see.
Farewell, then. We'll not meet again.
Alucard.
Well, are you going after him or not?
I'm sorry. I have to follow him. I can't just...
It's all right. Hurry up and catch him. If anyone can save him, you can.
Thank you, Richter, for everything.
Thank you, Maria.
That ending dialogue is slightly different since we completed the entire map. But yeah, Symphony of the Night's great. I really enjoy Symphony of the Night, and I'm glad to have gotten to revisit it for the channel. And it works out nicely that it ended right before Halloween. So, back on the expansion pack conversation, I think that for the price they're asking, the N64 and Genesis games are not the focal point. And I think that will be clearer going forward if they do start to introduce more DLC and more other things to that particular level of the subscription. I've heard a couple of people say that it's because of licensing costs for the Genesis games. I have a hard time believing that completely, because that's a major price hike for that. But I also do agree that if they're charging that much, then the stuff that they're providing should, at the base level, do what they say it will. And currently, the N64 stuff especially doesn't seem like it is. I mean, I've only used the N64 service so far to play through Yoshi's Story and to play part of Sin and Punishment until I reached a point that I couldn't really figure out what I was doing wrong and decided to do something else. And I didn't have any issues with input delay or anything like that, which I know some people have cited for, I think, Ocarina of Time in particular. So that might be a case-by-case basis thing. I don't really have a reason to play Ocarina of Time on that, since I have the cartridge and the 3DS version and the Virtual Console version. But yeah, we'll see, essentially, is my perspective on it. I think that it would be nice if they would either take some cues from popular emulators. I mean, maybe not necessarily with save states and things like that, though I'm generally in favor of more options is better. But at least making things effectively functional, which it doesn't seem like they thoroughly have, especially for online multiplayer. Which is a shame, because that's one of their major selling points. My current stance is, we're subscribed to it for the next year. And I give them that year to improve what they've already got and to demonstrate to me that it's worth continuing to subscribe once it actually does reach the full price instead of the reduced price, taking into account the days I still had on the regular subscription. Because that's the other part that I didn't quite interpret accurately from their initial announcement. You've already got a base subscription and can upgrade to the expansion pack isn't an upgrade that keeps the dates for your current subscription. It replaces it and starts over, essentially. But gives you a reduced price based on how many days you had already paid for from the basic subscription. So, yeah, overall, I think that it could prove itself to be worth the price. And I think that realistically, it's around $4 a month, which isn't a horrendous price total, but framing it as a complete upfront cost for an annual plan damages the perspective on it. B, it's a far cry from the $20 a year that was way cheaper than the competitors' options, and I think that what they provided for those $20 was very well worth it. More so if you had the family plan, which can reduce it down to as little as like less than $5 per person per year. So, yeah, feelings are mixed. I'm subscribed to it for now. We will see if I have a reason to continue to subscribe to it. Anyway, that is going to be the end for this stream. It's kind of a short one because we didn't have much left of Symphony of the Night. But I do plan to stream Spider-Man again tomorrow. It'll probably be earlier in the day. Didn't stream it last weekend because I just wasn't feeling up to it. But we'll also be starting a new side project next week, so look forward to that. And for now, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later, everyone.